All right, fine. All right.
So now we're going to discuss the Panov attack.
Panov Variation. Very sharp line. Okay, go ahead. Khan, yeah, E6, D5, and now C4 is very aggressive. Yeah.
They used to think I remember when this reading some of the history on this, and when the Panov attack was first discovered and being played at the top level, Khan players were worried. Does this refute the Khan? It was getting a very dangerous attack, and players like Botvinnik were showing new ways to fight for the initiative with isolated queen pawn positions. Of course, eventually that cooled down, and we know what we're playing for. These pawns will probably be exchanged at some point, and then we're going to get a typical isolated queen pawn position. We discussed this a little bit earlier, and we'll discuss it in more detail soon.
Yeah, we got to be stable. We're going to be better in endgames as long as we don't get mated. So we have to get past the middle game. We'll suffer a little bit, get past the middle game. Okay.
Right. So knight f3 is the most typical, but let's look at an early alternative instead.
E6. Hold on. We're locking in the bishop. Bishop. We have to lock in the bishop. We're okay to suffer a little bit. You know why? Because we have something in return. What's something in return?
We're going to have an isolated...
We have what to look forward to. In the other variations, we said, you know what? If they're not giving us anything to look forward to, you know what? We ain't settling for a bad bishop.
We always have to be careful about these.
Show the other variation. Yeah, show the other variation. Show the other. Show the last one. Show the last. Earlier, when they, not C3, not C4, rather. Exchange.
Mm-hmm.
Bishop D3, knight F6, okay. C3, knight C6. So just going back here for a second.
And then we develop the bishop.
Yeah, because if we play E6, it's like, what do we have to show for it? If we lock in our light show, if we play E6,
a little bit worse.
And there's no real compensation. But now, and back in the Panov now, please. Mm-hmm. Now we have compensation.
Right, and we don't want to play bishop G4. Sorry.
No.
We don't want to play bishop G4.
The Panov, we have compensation. We say, you know what? If you're willing to give yourself a bad endgame, I'll work with you. I'll give myself a bad bishop. You know, there's a give and take.
Right, and being concrete, early bishop G4 is allowed queen B3, which is more dangerous than with the pawn on C3 because not only is B7 attacked, D5 is also attacked.
Yeah, there's a lot that we said about be careful when you move the bishop out. Well, in the Panov, there's no careful. You don't do it. There is no careful. You don't do it. You leave the bishop back. It doesn't work. There's way too much pressure on the light squares. It's really the C4, queen B3. Hold on, I'll show. Queen B3. Tickling the D5 and B7, there's too much pressure. The queen is too fast. You can't get away with it. There are some lines.
If you memorize long variations and play all the right move orders, you can get a slightly worse. We're trying to make you play chess here. So bit E6. C5 is the only real way to try to avoid the structures where these pawns will get exchanged.
C5 happens sometimes. Okay.
And we have a really interesting recommendation against this. Bishop E7. Knight F3, and I used to make the mistake of playing knight C6 here, but then these exchanges would happen. What do you think of that?
Yeah, when they play C5, okay, hold on, take the arrows away, yeah. So C5 is basically, it's either very good or very bad. And what do we mean by that? It's either we say a brick, is C5 a dark brick, or is it a bug? I mean, it's D4, just click on those squares. Now, D4 and C5, okay, D4 and C5, mm-hmm. They're either strong on dark, or they're just overextended. And white's going to try and prove that they're strong. We're going to try and prove that they're overextended. Now the thing is like this. What's going to decide largely is going to be how many defenders. Can we win it? Can black win it? Can white defend it? Well, that would basically mean that at this point in the game, what color is the more valuable color?
The dark squares are most
dark.
So our knight would be controlling dark, and then the light bishop would invest.
Well, what happens is show that knight C6, and I've had this a lot. Knight C6, bishop E5.
We're struggling here.
Bishop D7. Show. Bishop D7. He takes and then plays B4.
And then we can't prove it's a weakness anymore. Plus, we're outnumbered on dark, even with minor pieces.
Outnumbered on dark. Yeah.
This is also like we could get.
Who crushed. Has more dark money?
White does.
Why?
Because he has a knight against our light square bishop.
What about our golden bishop? Don't we have a golden light square bishop?
We do, but we have nowhere to play on light.
Nowhere to play. And
plus, space on dark is cramping us.
It's over. Sooner or later, he'll crush us on our color too. It's only a matter of time before we're dead. He plays B5, pawn B5. He plays knight E5. He plays bishop F4. It's dead. It's like that. So you actually want to go back.
Mhm.
In principle, you want to play like go here B6. You'd like to play a move like B6, but then show it B6.
B6, but then
But
B4.
then they play B4, and again, it doesn't work. It doesn't work.
Like A5?
A5 is an old theory, a lot of theory here. Knight A4.
Oh,
it's
yeah,
very
yeah.
too tricky.
Yeah.
We don't need to get engaged in this. Okay, so in general, what I found, years back, I came up with the idea to play Bishop E7. Go ahead, and then to play Knight E4.
This is really interesting. It's Stonewall style, and we're fighting for dark squares, especially with this. And we can free our light squared bishop to be developed onto H5, which will fight for dark.
Yeah.
If we can exchange it for the knight, then D4 becomes weak, and Knight C6 can be played under better
Yeah,
circumstances.
and also notice how he can't play B4 now. It's a nice little finesse. He can't play B4. The knight C3 is hanging again, dark.
Right. So this is a really interesting.
Oh, and if he takes, you're pretty happy. Pawn takes. Oh, the D4 pawn is too weak.
Yeah, you can't even play Knight D2 without allowing Queen takes D4.
Yeah, Knight E5. You can just castle. You got a castle, and then F6. The knight's.
Yeah, I don't know where this knight is going.
F6, and then the knight goes. Go ahead. Show knight C4, and then the knight comes to C6. And the knight comes.
And then this is just so weak.
The D4 is weak. The dark. Again, and then you kick him. Yeah. Good. Okay, show Stonewall. Yeah, you were showing. Yeah.
Right. So going back to the Stonewall for a moment, a Stonewall idea. We're having a course on that as well.
Okay.
Bishop D3. F5,
yeah.
And we consolidate our knight. We have ideas like bishop F6, castles kingside, knight C6, maybe bishop E8, bishop D7, bishop E8, bishop H5. A lot of active counterplay.
Yeah, this is the kind of line where the pawns are strong on light and the pieces are oozing energy onto dark. And we're here to prove that D4, show D4 and C5 are actually weaknesses.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Extended, yeah. Okay.
So C5 is how white can try to avoid going for an isolated queen pawn, but when people play the Panov, they usually want to get the IQ piece, so you should expect knight F3 instead. Okay. Bishop E7. We don't want to take C4 until they've moved the light squared bishop, so that when they recapture, it'll take 2 moves instead of 1. For example, bishop D3 takes, and it's going to be very similar to the main line, just we have more development tempi. Let's also look at one other alternative, and then we'll stick to isolated queen pawn. What about bishop G5 here?
Yeah, it doesn't really work well with it. It's almost he has 2 plans. Pressure on D5, and he's like, oh, hold on, let me just think about like bishop G5. And like, what are you doing? And there's one plan of C4, like just boom, like angry bishop and just angry. I don't care about position. And the bishop G5, and he can't. By the way, trades. Every trade helps us. Every trade helps us, which is because less attack every trade, and it's close to the end game where his pawn his isolated pawn or soon to be isolated pawn is weak. So yeah, knight E4 is actually really good. Just trading is.
Well, when we're down on space, making exchanges makes sense. So bishop takes C7.
No, not just that. It's just there's no his whole plan doesn't make sense anymore. Trading pieces. It's not just space. It's because he can't mate us. It's not about space. He can't mate it. You gotta survive. Okay, as he takes, and then a knight takes C3, pawn takes, pawn take.
This is possibly a
check.
Backward pawn.
Yeah, this is good for black already.
Castles, castles, bishop E6.
Yeah, the C3 pawn. Show. C3 pawn is backwards.
Backward pawn. We're going to put our rook on the open file.
Yeah. That's good for us. Okay.
So after queen takes C7, rook C1, castles make sense. Whenever they take, we would always just gain space. So
Yeah. This is good. Hold on. Show take. Knight takes, pawn takes, knight D2, F5, and
E5 might come, or...
No. Rook D8. The pawns are so strong and dark leverage. The pawns on light, and they envelop dark. And the pawn pieces come around
because the knight was controlling dark, and now it's moved out of the way.
So also we have so much power, comfort on light with the pawns. Now he's like fighting to survive, and then we hit him hard on the other color.
Right, of course.
We don't have to worry about light, so we can focus our queen, our rook, our knight, our second rook, anything but our light bishop on the other color, and he can't because he doesn't have space. He has nothing to look forward to. We have the pawns on light already.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So castles, c takes d5.
Go ahead.
Knight takes c3 because if we took, he would take with the knight.
Okay.
So rook takes, and it's kind of interesting because we're
check.
With white's uncastled, we're going to develop our pieces very easily.
Bishop G4 probably.
Yeah, I think we're doing all right here.
Yeah, his D pawn is weak. RD, it's equal enough. I think he's not castled. He has to prove. Rook E3 check maybe. Rook E3. I wouldn't mind.
Then maybe queen B4.
Show. Rook E3 check.
Or bishop B6.
Queen B4. No. Queen B4 check.
What about queen D2?
And then knight C6.
Oh.
Knight C6. If he takes, then we have knight jumping into C2 suddenly. Yeah, that's good. So you can't really do that. So go ahead. So you can't do that.
Right, okay.
Go back.
Mm-hmm.
Queen D2.
Mm-hmm, queen D2.
Knight C6. A3, queen takes queen, king takes, bishop G4.
Oh,
I think.
and then D4 is really weak.
D4 is really weak. Although 95, you can't afford to trade.
These are just ideas. We're just exploring.
No, but hold on. You're gonna play. You're gonna. The D4 is weak, and maybe bishop F5.
We could also avoid exchanging the queens.
No. You don't want to avoid it. No. You want to. You have a tempo initiative. You got to use initiative. Trade queens and go ahead. Rook E3, queen B4, queen D2, knight C6, A3.
The white square.
Hold on. Now queen B6 maybe. Queen. Wait, is that right?
Oh, and then we have bishop G4 takes F3 coming with takes D4.
I think so. Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
Some ideas there. Anyway, so white has to hope to survive. He's barely holding on. All right, fine.
So bishop E7.
Okay,
C takes D5.
Yeah.
Knight takes D5, and now our knight is on the outpost square.
Yeah.
Bishop D3.
I want to mention, but in those lines, that's you guys are welcome to weigh in.
Yeah, please. Like we're just sort of exploring. Bishop G5. You can play all these normal moves.
I've never had these exact lines. I think to analyze something that I've literally never ever had, it seems a lot because I've played infinite games.
Right. So we're sort of.
But it's kind of cool to give some perspective, and they could. You guys could add.
You've played like what 20, 30,000 games in the Carocon?
Yeah, about that. Yeah. So again, but you guys could, if you have any thoughts or conclusions, please feel free to comment.
Nothing wrong with castles. It's just that 94 is an interesting option that's worth the practice.
94 is good. Yeah. Okay.
So takes, knight takes, bishop d3, and the setup Yakov likes is knight f6 immediately. And the reason, well, we'll get to that setup soon. The reason for that is we want to play b6, bishop b7 to develop our bishop on the long diagonal. But if we do that too soon, like with the knight on d5, that is, then taking on d5 is really annoying. Because if we take with the with the e pawn, then bishop b7 is out of place as it's blocked by the d5 pawn. But if we take with the queen, we get hit with tactics like bishop e4. And
bishop e4 is too annoying.
Weaknesses on the long diagonal with queen c2 coming in knight e5. We're just getting crushed.
Yeah, it's rough. Yeah.
So
you got to time b6 really well. You got to make knight f6 first. Knight f6 first is really important.
There's lots of different move orders.
Or castle first.
But the simplest to remember is just right away.
Yeah, you could do that. Yeah. Or castle first. I think both equally good. It's going to transpose. Okay, go ahead. Castle.
Castles. And so Black's plan is knight c6 with b6 and bishop b7.
Yeah.
Maybe if allowed, he'll maneuver the knight to d5 also.
Yeah.
So let's say a3. It's a standard enough plan because white wants to make the queen bishop battery and doesn't like to allow knight c6, knight b4. All of the alternatives, Black is just going to play knight c6, so we don't need to look at those. It's just the same. We're trying to get it to a typical setup. Both sides know what they're aiming for. So bishop g5, it's just the same. If we play rook q1, it's the same. We're going for these positions.
Queen d6 is a line I've been playing for many years now. It's quite nice. Okay. Queen David's, Queen d6 idea is to pile in behind the rook. Yeah, and I had a game against Kaspar. We'll see in the games. We'll see in the game scores. Okay, go ahead.
Right, but before we go into the typical position, what happens if white plays an early d5? Did you remember you said, was it Nigel Short who played this against you?
Yeah, this in one of the games maybe. I don't know.
I think it was like knight takes, and well, you never want to take back with the pawn because then there's ideas based on this X-ray.
Yeah.
Queen d3, g6, and then rook takes e7. You never want to allow that. General guideline in these positions, when they play d5, you take with the knight first to avoid the pins.
The knight takes
because they'll weaken. But I mean, Yakov was playing Grandmasters and getting okay results without knowing that detail. It's just useful.
Yeah, it's good. No, I did know that. Okay.
No, you did. Like you played the game. I remember like some games were well and some weren't.
Some games I slipped. I forgot that.
Yeah, I mean,
I knew it, but I forgot. Okay, G6. You have to.
Yakov forgets subtleties. I've learned mate in one.
G6. Hold on. You see why G6? What's his threat?
White wants to play bishop.
Take the knight and then take H7. Yeah, you gotta stop mate. So hold on. When that happens, you gotta play G6. You gotta, and that's okay. It's safe enough. G6.
Again, if they play D5, we're always taking with the knight. If we take with the pawn, then rook takes E7 is just really annoying. You're gonna lose the knight at some point.
Okay.
So we don't do that. That knight becomes a weakness in these positions. D5, knight takes D5, and we're doing more than well. We'll have an extra pawn.
Okay, go ahead.
So G6, rook AD1, rook AD8. It's a useful move. We apply pressure on the queen and the isolated queen pawn. We keep in contact with the D5 square. This is the setup we're aiming for. And soon we're going to be playing knight G4 with queen B8, and we'll see what this means in a moment.
Yeah, good.
But Yakov's the one who has lots of games in this position, including against me, where he'd repeatedly beat me back when I was 2150 blitz. Oh no.
Knight g4 is good, offering to trade a bishop. Show the trade a bishop. Show how the bishops are trying to trade. Yeah.
Oh.
Trade a bishops is good, and we're also going to get an attack on his king, which is unexpected. That's kind of nice. The Caro-Kann attack.
Yeah, the Caro-Kann attack.
Go ahead.
Now, we do want to exchange the bishops because he has the isolated pawn, and we also want to free our
take the knight, and maybe, hold on, show it. Take h2. Yeah.
Removing the defender.
Yeah, okay.
White's trying to do that here. We're trying to do that there.
Yeah, exactly.
We're throwing the whole reversal on them.
Okay, go ahead. So bishop, he plays bishop c1.
Bishop c1. Queen b8.
Keeping the piece. Now there's a big threat. There's a very big threat. Now, h3 is kind of cool. h3 is a looks like a normal move. h3.
h3. Let's h3. Let's look at that.
What? Yeah, you give it a quiz. No, show h3. Show
h3.
This is a good quiz for the students, right?
Yes.
It's not so easy. So you guys could take a little time. If you feel like it, to see if we can come up with it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, black to play.
Okay.
Pause for a moment.
Pause if you like. Okay.
All right, and then knight takes g4. Of course, we sacrifice more pieces as usual. So if h takes g4, then we play knight takes f3, winning the queen because of the discovered attack. And if knight takes d4, well,
this is a cool line. Yeah, knight takes d4, queen h2.
Simple checkmate.
Queen takes g2.
That bishop comes out.
Go ahead, king e2, and king takes f2. I've had this many times.
How many times do you say?
I don't know.
Any grandmaster stuff?
A lot of grandmasters. A lot. I feel like 40. I've had like 30 or 40 times exact maybe more. I don't know. Some blitz too though. Some blitz. Mostly bullet. I feel like including the bullet, it was probably like actually over 40 or 50.
50 grandmasters or games?
I feel like actually it was right. Yeah, like 50 is probably a good number. No, 50. Oh, yeah. Maybe 20 GMs.
In this exact position.
Yeah, exact. Yeah, something like that. It'd probably more than that. It'd be funny to check. All right, anyway. Yeah.
Okay, so let's say white tries to stop this idea. He plays d5, and now knight d4 isn't possible because if queen takes d4, the rook was controlling that before. Well, here...
He's weakening the dark squares. Bishop c5.
Oh, wow, bishop c5.
And now hitting f2. Show the bishop also hitting f2. Now he plays knight e5. Knight e5, show, okay.
And then knight d4 perhaps next, because if takes, we could play queen takes h2, and the bishop is protecting. And we cover this in more detail in the model game section. Was that your game against Kasparov?
Kasparov, yeah. Good.
Yeah, very interesting. So the summary for the Panov attack is we're going to...
So again, this is interesting. We kind of keep you trying to solid and not go too astray. Go ahead, yeah.
So the summary in the Panov too astray isn't too much theory, as in any theory.
Not lose, and like I made it. Elijah's biggest problem is getting mated.
Yeah, my biggest weakness in chess is getting checkmated. Yeah, I need to work on that. One day, if I learn how to fix this weakness, I might even be a moderately half-decent chess player.
Only.
I don't know. Maybe. Got to solve those mate in ones. I don't know. 50,000, 100,000, 150,000, then I might blunder mate in one slightly less often. My biggest weakness. Okay, so other than thinking about other things during chess games, just kidding. Okay, so c5 is an early way.
We've had some c5 lines where we said in that case you're going to take advantage and prove it.
We're going to go for some stonewall.
Prove that he's weak on dark and then play f5. We saw in the Panov, we saw to the castle quickly to solidify the center and
bring the knight back to f6.
Play for trades and sometimes get an attack, right?
Yeah.
And
the key idea actually is this is mostly for 1800 plus players.
Yeah.
Once you get to this typical isolated queen pawn position,
you gotta stop d5, right?
Yeah, you gotta stop d5. Once players recognize the typical plans, that getting to this position is reasonably likely. And our special idea, Yakov's idea, is queen d6 with the plan of rook d8, knight g4, queen b8, with tactical ideas like knight takes d4.
Yeah. At the minimum, trade some pieces, and at the max, if all goes even well, you're going to make an attack and win some material over mates. So. Okay, and here we have, we're going to show a game, my student, Scott Griggs. It's Caffeine, it's his handle.
He got paired against the International Master and Amateur Team East earlier this year, and with a little help from our course, he ended up drawing the game.
Absolutely. So he played really well and used the Caro-Kann dacha, and he drew against a strong IM. Okay. d4, c6, d4, d5. Yeah. Take. Yeah. Knight f3 is normal. Bishop G4 is fine.
It's a little harder for white to play the queen B3 as fast, but it's still okay.
Getting the piece, and then we go bishop back, keeping the pressure. Knight C6.
All normal.
E6, developing the bishop, the dark bishop, and casting soon mini bishop. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And now challenging the bishop, very solid, very solid. Yeah. Go ahead.
Bishop takes D6.
Yeah.
Queen takes C6.
Takes. Yeah.
Knight B2. Just exchange the whites.
Changing bishops is solid. Very tight. Yeah, very good. Castle's good. The double pawns show the double pawns, and that's
they help control light.
Yeah, light, and it's king is safe, very safe king, no problem. 95, okay. Of course, hold on, you can't take, of course.
Can't take because we get forked.
Hold on, show you can't take it, get forked, but okay, go ahead. And here, rook C8,
A4. I mean, it's just a solid position for black. I think typical is like to set up like rook B8 with B5, but there's more than one approach at this point.
Knight D7, yeah, trading knights is good.
White
A5, B6 challenging is fine. Yeah.
We still want to do this.
Yeah.
Minority
hold on. B5, yeah, minority is a minority attack, and now here
it's so simple.
This guy's playing for minority attack, which is B4, and if he plays if he plays B4,
then there's the backward pawn.
The C3 pawn is backwards. It's too weak. Yeah. Okay.
Maybe we also have maneuver ideas like this.
Absolutely. Okay.
Yes, the minority attack is just so simple, and white just exchanged a lot of minors, so we don't even have to analyze their white's counterplay so much.
B4 is tickling the and forcing him to make a weakness.
Mm-hmm.
He plays Queen A4, trying to pin. We don't mind.
Are we even better at this point?
Black is a little better. Black is better. Yeah. It's an annoying pin, but it's no big deal. It's no big deal. It's a little fly.
Queen C7 unpins, preparing to maybe move the knight.
Or rook F8. I actually like Scott's move. Rook F8 is protecting the queen. White has to be careful not to lose this. Oh, hold on. This is a good rook B8. Show. Go ahead. Rook B8.
Mm-hmm.
The idea being that you're unleashing. Yeah, he can't
it's
take
very
the
clever
knight.
because then starting to exchange maybe. And
long term the C3 pawn. Show. The C3 pawn is weak. Black is playing for advantage. Yeah. Go ahead.
So rook A1.
Okay.
Rook C8.
Defending. Yeah.
Knight E1. Queen C7.
Queen C7 is good. Yeah.
Knight D3.
Okay.
Rook B6.
Rook B6 is fine. Okay.
And it just ended up being.
Hold on. Show one second. And now, rook takes. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Black is still pressing, but
black is a little better. But you know what? The knight C5 keeps white afloat. Show the knight.
Right. It's blocking the C file.
Yeah. Okay. E5 is a good move. Trying to uproot that, and then let's see the C pawn that gets a little weak.
White's defending. Luckily for
Queen E8 is okay.
Luckily for
hold on. So now white gets a little bit of counterplay, but nothing serious.
Luckily for white, he had enough counterplay to draw the game, but
knight F8, rook B8. Hold on 1 second. So now the knight is funny. He's trying to mate it, but now the king A8, king postulate, definitely king postulate.
King postulate.
Elijah likes this.
If anything, I think that black might still be pressing, but
yeah.
But even with the king, especially with the king on H6.
Yeah. No, the king is fine. Rook B8. Go ahead. Rook B8.
Queen D7.
And now he trades. Yeah, okay, trades queens. And the thing is that the E5 pawn is the D4 rather. Hold on. Go back. The D4 pawn is kind of weak, but white plays okay. Well, let's see. Right, rook A6.
They agreed to draw here, but I think black is still pressing.
No. The problem is that if you play then knight E5, no, it's too much. Knight E5.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Is
that true? And then maybe
and it goes there.
And then
rook D6 is a draw.
It's just an easy draw. But it was interesting.
So
because
it's okay. Maybe white got away a little bit more than he could have been in trouble, and he found some good ideas.
Yeah.
C5, no problem.
What's Scott Briggs' rating?
Scott Briggs is he's over 2,000. He's nearly master level. No, definitely level wise close to master level.
He was out playing an IM with this game.
Playing IM.
Simple play, minority attack.
Nothing special. Yeah.
And ultimately, he didn't end up winning, but I mean, white was defending the whole game.
Yeah, so that was a good game, and this is
congratulations to him.
Congratulations, and it should be instructive on, and maybe inspiring.
Hopefully, you too can press as black with the minority attack.
Snag the title ones. Yes,
with the Caro-Kann attack.
Absolutely.
I hope that you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the model game section.